Hey! Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in again. It's me, Random Tooth Guy. Today we have a very, very special guest. I told her the first day when I actually texted her that I'm her biggest fan, number one, and she is the sweetest. You all know her. Without any ado, I'm gonna invite her in. Casey.
Hello. Hello,
Hey, how are
everybody.
you? Thank you so
Doing
much for coming in, giving us your time.
anytime.
I really appreciate it. So, I just want to say on behalf of everyone who is in this, in this process, you were the OG who were actually, have been putting all this amazing content. And I think I'm not the only one. And I'm one of those people who have binge watched all your videos from top to bottom, newest to oldest, and we just wait until the new video comes up. Every video has like concept, so much information. I like that you're like straight to the point, no BS. So thank you so much for putting out amazing content.
No problem. It's really funny because it's like it feels to me like when I put out my video, I always think like who the hell would want to watch it? It's just poor old me. Like and talking to somebody who actually did watch it is kind of exciting because to me it's a number. I see the views and I can't even comprehend how many people actually watch it. So it's really exciting for me. Thanks for watching.
No, of course. So those of my newcomers, especially who do not know you, please introduce yourself a little bit. Help tell everybody who you are, where are you right now, and what do you do, please.
Well, I am a foreign trained dentist, just like everybody who is in this place right now. I guess I'm from Russia. I graduated in 2018, and so I'm a baby dentist, as I like to say. And I was trying to apply this whole time until I finally got in to University of Oklahoma in 2020, and I got into Boston University because of the pandemic. So right now I'm in Boston, and I'm almost done. I have one more year to go in Boston University Advanced Standing Program. And I'm a YouTube enthusiast, like we understood from the previous
Of
introduction. So
course, of
that's
course.
me.
This is so cool because not only you have been documenting your journey, but all those difficult topics that we have no idea, especially foreign trained dentists. Like you, like me, there's so many who come to United States. The first thing everyone knows, before they even come to United States, everybody has to pass national boards. All right, cool. The problem comes as soon as they pass national boards, it's like a blank screen. Oh, okay, so I passed the boards. Now what? And now it's like a plethora of knowledge and information all over, not like concluded, not complete. And there's like a lot of wrong information out, and you have no idea what's going on. And that's where your channel comes in. We're going to talk a little bit more about like what have you, put it out there for everybody so far. But before we go to BU, you are like such an interesting case too because you went to Oklahoma and then you switched and now you're in BU. I'm pretty sure I've never heard someone did switch in their advanced standing program. So how about you? I know those of you who really want to get into the detail of all this, she has amazing in-depth videos about it too. I would not go in like too much detail, and we'll add her YouTube channel link in the show notes, so you can all go on and subscribe who have not subscribed yet. Watch their videos. That'll be awesome. But just let us know a little bit about like Oklahoma. How, like once you got in at the time, you did not know that you will be in BU, right? You probably didn't even had any concept, right?
No, I didn't at all.
Now, I do have some questions, by the way, that as soon as people knew that you're going to be coming on the show, a lot of people were asking, so Casey, tell us about like your Oklahoma experience. So let's say you have your interview and bench test, and now you're there. What should people like me, let's say someone has an interview next month or a bench test, what should they be like expecting?
Well, if we're talking specifically about Oklahoma, expect the best school ever. Like, I talk about Oklahoma so much because, like, you know how you meet a guy and you fall in love. No, you don't. But you fall in love for the first time, and that was Oklahoma to me. I was invited to many interviews during my cycle, and Oklahoma was my first one, and I went there, and I was just like, that is all. I am done. I'm going
Really?
here. Yeah, I loved it. It's ridiculous because I remember when I was applying, and me and my husband were talking about, like, imagine if we would go to Oklahoma. Because in my head, I'm from Russia, right? I
Right.
can't even paint a map of United States. I have no idea where the states are. And when I
Yeah.
was applying to Oklahoma, I was like, where in the world is that? I was like, let me find it on a map. And I didn't even know where it is. And all I knew about Oklahoma was like tornadoes. And I was like, where am I going? When I was invited to the interview, zero clue. And when I went there, it's like a vibrant city. And it's interesting, it's fun, it's young, and the school is so small, and it's like quintessential American school. Like, I
Right.
don't know if you know what I mean, but when you have studied in different countries and you've been exposed to like American culture and you've seen it in the movies and you've seen like whatever,
Like
what you think of
Hollywood.
I
Exactly.
know
Yeah.
what you think of American school, and you go there and that's it. And it's really friendly. When I went to an interview, everybody just really wanted to know who you are. Like, you
Mhm.
weren't a number on a file, you were a person, and they really were interested.
So they
And
really wanted to know you as a person, where you're
yeah,
from, the thought process.
exactly. All
That's
your hobbies, your like your family, what you do, the instruments you play, like all that fun stuff. And they actually talked to me as a person, and I really liked that. And I was about to go to a different interview in USC, which is actually considered a more prestigious school. And I dropped out of the interview because when I got into Oklahoma, I was like, goodbye, USC. I'm not even buying a ticket. And people thought I was crazy because everybody were like, I will kill people for USC.
right.
People were so obsessed with that school, and I'm like, no, I'm going to Oklahoma. And yeah, I loved it. It was great. But I'm from Boston. My husband's from Boston. My family's from Boston. I lived here before. I knew, even though we loved Oklahoma, I knew I could never live there for my entire life. And when I had an opportunity to come to Boston, I was like, all right, it's gonna be a better long-term decision. So
Right. Right.
yeah.
Now, I have seen your videos, but those who have not, um, tell us a little, about your program at Oklahoma versus program in Boston. I know there's a little difference, some more clinic heavy on one side, prosthetics on one side, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there are good things and bad things about each program. And Oklahoma was more, I guess, clinic focused. It's more, they don't have a lot of bells and whistles. They don't have a lot of technology. They don't have cool stuff that you can play with, like CEREC. They do have that, but they don't have it as available as BU does. They don't commercialize it as much. They don't have this like um the drawing points that they can draw students in as something to commercialize, but they do have a lot of patients. They have
Right.
all of the
And
clinical experience.
sorry to cut you off. And I think the number of students also matter, doesn't? Because BU takes like what, 80 or something, as compared
Yeah.
to Oklahoma, which is like 10 or
Yeah, we were 12.
12. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So does that play a role now that you have been on both sides of the spectrum, or how does it feel?
well, actually, in that, I actually prefer BU
Oh,
because
really?
not because they have more students, because we don't really notice that. There's so many divisions. We're divided in so many groups and group practices, and just in preclinic, we have so many divisions. I don't even know the entire class.
Oh,
There's some
really? So
people
it's not
yeah.
like you're 80 people in one class and there's like a lecture going on and I'm all the way in the back side and
No,
nobody's like,
that's like, it is like that, but it's COVID. I can't really talk about that because we're all online. So,
no, of course.
but because the class was divided, even in the large groups, when we're supposed to, in normal days, we're all supposed to be together in like the lab practicing. Now
Right.
we're divided in two groups. So I don't even know people from the second group. I'm in group one. So it's kind of like, I don't care that there are a lot of us. I don't notice the effect of that. Like, I have plenty of patients. I have more than I need. Like, if
Okay.
that's the concern, if people are worried that because of the larger class you won't
It
have
is.
enough patients.
It is.
Yes.
There's a misconception that because a BU takes 80, or for example, UIC takes 54, so that their patients will be divided as compared to someone who takes 4, like Iowa. So you will have more patients as compared to BU. So that it doesn't matter, right?
Well, I don't need any more. I'm
Okay.
busy. I'm so busy. I don't need any more. I'm not complaining. I'm fine. Like, I don't notice that. It's not a problem. Even
Right.
maybe in Oklahoma, maybe I would get more theoretically,
Right.
but I don't need. I'm fine. I have enough practice. I have everything I need. It's fine. I wouldn't worry about that.
All right. So now my next question is: I know BU is one of those colleges who do not have a bench test, including Tufts and Rutgers and UIC, I believe. Fun fact: this year, due to pandemic, NYU and I think Columbia was also part of that list.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was talking about that. I had a video
Only this
before,
year.
like, yeah, before the pandemic, like, when it was really raging. I was like, how does the pandemic affect the application? And I was considering the fact that they might cancel the bench test, which is good for a lot of
Which is
people.
very
People
good.
don't know how
Yeah.
it's a problem. Bench test is scary,
Yeah,
and
right.
it'd be nice.
But
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about Oklahoma bench test. Was it like really tough? Or was it like they're really strict about like Colorado, where they're like, oh, your back was not straight and you
I
were.
know. Have you heard that? That's insane. What do you
It
think?
is.
Did you apply to Colorado?
They haven't opened yet.
Oh, really? Yeah, I
Colorado,
remember they're really late.
they're late. I think they open up late in like fall, and their application deadline is like in February or something.
But yeah, they're February. I remember that.
They're still taking people from last cycle.
Oh no.
Yeah, and
That's crazy.
yeah. So they're kind of like late. I think Mehari, Colorado, Washington, and Nova. They all are like kind of like in the fall schools, which I kind of like, because think about it. If you apply by the end of like September, you would know that you either got in or not, and then now you can focus on those next batch of schools. Like, all right, I applied in, for example, UPenn, UNC, Minnesota, UIC. They're all done by June, July, and either you're in or not. And then you will be like, all right, I guess I'm gonna work on this Colorado and Nova and Washington, all that.
I know, you're kind of like, it's like a football game, some people get eliminated, and like, you see who's gonna get in the finale. That's how you choose your school.
Right. I have one more question. Somebody, they really, they were like, oh, Dr. McDoom, you have to ask this from Casey. It's about like, it's a thing where you probably heard it like a million times. How to improve your profile, especially if you're a reapplicant. You did not get into the first cycle, and now it's someone's second cycle. What are the things that they should do? Especially the most popular thing is MPH or a preceptorship. Or
okay, wait. You asked me like 3 questions. Let me just like
we'll break it down.
Okay, yeah, because I start forgetting. Like, wait, what? Okay.
All right.
So let me just first tell you about the bench test, because I didn't answer that.
Please.
All right. Sorry, I diverted the conversations to you, because it's insane. Isn't it? Like, the Colorado bench test, it's something that drives me mad. And I can say that because I'm no longer applying to Colorado. But if you sorry, Colorado, I wouldn't say that normally when I was still in application cycle.
It's all her, guys. It's like, I didn't say anything. That's all.
I know,
her.
It's fine. Okay, it's fine. But the thing is, I know people who was dreaming about Colorado. It was their dream. It was like their school. They were applying for 3 times, rejecting other schools because they were hoping that one day they'll get into Colorado, and they were always failing the bench test because of the posture, because of the like posture. Seriously, like, your school, you're supposed to teach. So if their posture is not great, how about you teach them the it's my thing.
Yeah. That's the whole point. Like, why don't you take them in and then teach them how to not do this instead of just not taking them? it's not a residency. It's a advanced standing program. This is what you
I
do.
know. I know. And the point of the bench test to actually see if the person has the clinical skills that you can work with. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's just, are they there? Are you useless or are you somewhat workable? And it's me. I'm sharper at the edges, so I'm sorry. That's how I roll. But
No.
that's my transition to Oklahoma. See how I did that? Okay,
I like
Oklahoma.
that. I like
I
that.
know. I know. Oklahoma was the school that actually did not particularly care about all of this additional little things, and they actually wanted to see, do you have the hand skill in general? Like, everybody understands that you have practiced maybe a million years ago, you haven't prepped for 10 years, but you have to have something inside that is capable of doing it. It's kind of innate. I don't even think that you have to go to dental school to see if you have the hand skills. It's just something something that you either have or not. And most of people do. And it just comes to the game of numbers. Who is with you? You're fighting against people in your bench. Like whoever is applying with you is everything it comes up to, because I'm sure everybody can prep, but the question is, who is with you? Can they prep better than you? And that is what's the problem is. And when we came to Oklahoma, when I first received my invitation to the bench test and the interview, they required a crown prep, a class 2 prep, and a fill. So they required an amalgam filling. And that's hard to practice, because where do you find an amalgam? Like, if you buy a compressor, that's fine, but like, you can't really practice your fill. And amalgam is pretty much technique sensitive. It's you need to know how to do it. So that I was really worried about it. But when we arrived to bench test, we were like, we were all worried about it. We were already there, like sitting and waiting to be seated at the benches. And then the admissions director came in and said, like, okay, we're not going to do the fill. Like, don't worry about the fill, because if your prep is good, we're pretty sure that your filling will be okay. And he was like very chill about it. He just I feel like he just didn't feel like doing it. He was like, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Don't stress them out. They're already stressed out.
Don't stress about it. It's fine. And we were like talking, we were like, oh, thank you. There was not much of us. There were just 30 of us in the bench test. So we were just kind of talking, face to face to him. It's not like there were a whole bunch of people sitting behind us. So we were like, do you know that other schools do like wax carvings? Like, can you imagine? He was like, wax carving? That's silly. He didn't even believe us that other schools use wax carvings for their bench test.
Do you know by any chance which one is it? Is it one of the California schools, right?
USC wax carving.
USC, there you go.
That's why I didn't want to go. I was like, what? And they ask to carve, like, not even in twos. They can ask to carve anything. They can say, like, carve a telephone or like carve a rose. It's not even. It's insane. Like, when was the last time you wax carved? Like, I've been in
first year of dental school back at my home, right?
I know. I have wax. Okay, I have wax carved, but it wasn't like professional. I did it with a cheese knife, and I have an Instagram picture to prove it. It was fine, because my school didn't care about it much either. But I've been in school now for a year and a half. Never did I wax carve anything. Never. I didn't need that skill ever. So I don't know why. Maybe in USC and schools who require wax carving, it's important. I don't know. I'm not gonna be mean about it. Sure, if you need it, you need it.
Hey, like we were talking about improving your profile, that's like one more skill that kind of differentiates you from other candidates, I guess.
Yeah, I know, right? Wax carving, whatever. It's just my thing, and that's why I liked Oklahoma. They were like, they didn't need anything extra. They just wanted to see who you are and what you can do with your hands. So that was basically how it was.
Now, was your interview the same day as the bench test?
Well, it was a 2-day process.
2-day process. Okay.
3 parts to it. There's an interview, there's a bench test, and there's an exam. There's a written exam. And I just talked about it in my video. I did a recent video about like my entire process.
Don't worry, guys. If you guys want to know the whole process, she has put everything really nice and sweet in her full video, which we'll be including in the show notes. So yeah, if you really want to know all about it, stay tuned. We're gonna post her YouTube link, everything. Also, there's like a link below. And anyone who has not subscribed yet, please go ahead and follow her on Instagram and YouTube.
Okay.
So now comes to the second part of the question, improving your profile.
Okay. Sure.
Mm.
For improving your profile, I applied once.
Mhm.
And so it's not like I'm not a professional at that. So I'm probably not the best person to ask that. But what I see from people who I talk to, and I talk to a lot of people, so that's kind of a communicative second language. English is
Right.
like second language. So the experience is combined from other people and not just me. So what I see most is when people improve their story, they don't need to improve anything else, just how they present themselves, what they talk about themselves, how they just write things like personal statement, any additional questions that they have on the applications, um, interview even if they get invited. All those little things is the major improvement, because you just, sorry if I'm putting you on the spot,
No,
hello,
go for it.
but
Yeah.
we had a recent conversation to you about that how personal statement can change really quickly, and it can be turned from like pretty much nothing. You read it and you're like, I have no idea what this person is. It's just
Yeah.
it's just
It's just
it's just
all over the
words.
place. Yeah.
It's not that it's all over the place. It's something that everybody says all the time, and you read it and it's like, I know nothing about this person.
Yeah.
And when people apply, they all have experience, they all have their dental diploma, of course, they have some work experience in their home country, they have some work experience in America volunteering. It's all there. There's always somebody smarter and better, but it doesn't mean that that smarter and better person can present it even better than you, who doesn't have anything. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't have anything. I didn't work once in my life, pretty much. I had a
Mhm.
pretty good life, I guess. But I don't have a dental work experience. I'm a fresh grad. I don't have any volunteering. I never volunteered. Okay, I'm not a very good I had a very good life, and I'm a very bad person now.
But this
I'm not.
is good. This is good because
Yeah.
I keep telling everybody that everyone asks this question. So do I have a chance? I don't have this. I don't have this. I don't have a volunteer experience. I don't have this. So that means I don't have a chance, right? And I keep telling them, no, apply. You never know. Never compare your profile or yourself with
Yeah.
someone else. If someone else got in with like 10 years of experience, maybe the school does not want another student with another 10 years experience. Maybe want like a fresh grad. Maybe they want
Yeah.
like someone who's like this really nice niche of personality that people like.
I know, exactly. That's what your first video, actually, I watched it, and then that's
Yeah.
exactly what you talked about. I thought it was a really good point. A lot of people ask me too, what do you do? I have this and this and this. Can I get in? I don't know. Tell me, like, show me your application. Tell me how you tell me about it. Tell me how you would tell admissions about it.
It's
And
all
then
about
we can kind
reputation.
of, it doesn't matter what you did. As long as you have your diploma, the only thing you need is your dental school diploma. That's all.
Right.
Well, like, of course, you need like all the requirements that they ask on the application, but as long as you have the diploma, you're eligible to apply. That's all
Right.
you need.
Yeah.
And all of your volunteering is extra. If you have it, great. If you don't, we can work with it. So
Exactly. Yeah.
that's my philosophy.
There's another misconception about the TOEFL score. If you have 100 plus, yes, it's very good, competitive for sure. But a lot of people are like, oh, well, I have 98, so I don't think I have any chance, so I'm not going to apply.
Yeah. Well, that's silly, but that depends on the school.
True.
Because there are some schools, and I heard this actually from somebody who's gone through the whole process, from a longtime grad of advanced standing program, like who's
Right.
practicing for a while, and he was actually a professor. I'm not going to say the school. I'm not going to put him in the spot, but it's just a friend who I kind of talked to on Instagram, met through YouTube. He was telling me, so basically, schools who really, really care about their academic standing, about their ranking, like what people think about them, they're like brand name schools, as I call them. They do not want to lower the GPA of their class. They want their incoming class to be a certain level. So they wouldn't accept anybody with a GPA or TOEFL score lower that they want to see on their statistics, And there are a lot of schools like that, and they're usually very prestigious schools. And that's why I kind of try to stay away from schools like that, because, it's not the only thing that matters. I'm a person, I'm not a number. And
Right. But they don't care about that. They want
they
to
don't care about that.
keep their
Yeah.
standard. Yes.
Yeah. So people who have lower scores, and they usually state on their website. Many schools don't even state the required TOEFL on their website,
Yeah.
just TOEFL,
Yeah.
But some schools actually say like not lower than 100, and if they state that, that's probably you should get 100. And don't waste your money if you don't, because you can tell that some people some schools say that they look at every application, that they review every application holistically, but actually they don't. They have a filter on their computers that kind of puts those applications behind if they don't match a certain standard. So that is probably not a good choice. There are very little of those schools. I would say they're like 4 or 5. So it's not a big deal if you have a TOEFL that's lower than 100. It's not a problem. You're probably better off away from those schools.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just apply to different ones. There's plenty of fish in the sea,
One more thing that I get all the time. If the deadline is, let's say, end of this month, end of June, for example, and today is 21st, am I too late to apply?
No.
Thank you.
No, it's never too late to apply. The funny example is my husband, who is not a dentist. He's a lawyer. He's in law school, but potato. It's still application process. Yeah. And we went, as I talked about, we went to Oklahoma, and I last minute got accepted to BU, and he got accepted to Oklahoma. We were all set to start the school, and the deadlines of law schools were passed, way past, like gone. Oh. And he was like, well, we need to go to Boston. And he just called them. He's like, listen, I'm coming.
The deadline is gone. There's no way, but
there's no way to apply. The application's closed. That's it.
Wow.
He still called them. He talked to a person. A person understood the situation, and a person accepted his application into a late review, and he had got accepted. So
look at that.
So deadlines is, obviously submit your application before deadline, but if there is an issue, there are always people behind it, and there are people who will understand. So yeah. if you're trying to apply and the deadline is tomorrow, you're fine. Like, you're okay, apply. You never know what happens. So that's definitely
so much for this. One more misconception, then we're going to move to next topic. Promise. NBD attempts.
Oh, I just was talking to somebody about that. That's funny. NBD is a pass-fail exam. If you pass it, you pass it. If you fail it, you pass it again. That's kind of how it is. It's understandable. If you didn't pass it from the first time, it doesn't mean you're never going to get in. It's just not how it is. I mean, it's scary. It's sad. Of course, you would like to pass it from the first time, but it's definitely not a reason to never apply to schools anymore. For sure. Like, it's just a sad thing, and we accept it and we move on and we apply the next cycle. That's just how it is.
Right. I have one more thing about the improving profile thing. So just like a one line answer, preceptorship or MPH?
Neither.
Very good.
Neither.
Which is true. Which is true. None of them are like really required by any
none
school,
of them.
Right?
I really don't like preceptorship programs. I see a lot of people who didn't get in with preceptorship programs, and they specifically applied to preceptorship programs because they thought it would improve their application. Hello. Hi. I'm sorry.
No. But the first thing when I applied in my preceptorship, the first thing they told me before even asking my name is, "Pow! We're just telling you already that there's no guarantee that you're going to get into the program. Please sign."
Yeah, I know. It's observant. You're observing. You're not. It's not something that you can get a credit for. It's nice. It's experience, and maybe it will help somebody. It will be like a last nudge to admission. But usually, it's not. It's if you're waiting to apply, if you're doubting which program to apply, preceptorship program or an actual program that you want to go to, apply to the program that you want to go to. What's the point of wasting time on something that is not going to help you?
And money.
I'm not even talking about money. Money is just like flying in this entire process.
We're all bleeding money in this whole process. Would you recommend maybe instead of doing this, there are some let's say dental hygiene license thing that you can actually sit in Florida dental hygiene exam, or limited dentist license in Massachusetts and Minnesota and Ohio.
That would actually be much better
Right?
than whatever else, because that's practical. You see
Right,
patients.
at least seeing patients, yes.
Yes, you get clinical, meaningful experience, one, and B, if this whole dentist thing doesn't work out, you have a different career. So
Exactly.
that's win-win for everybody.
Mhm.
That is a great thing to do. And if you can, because not every state allows that, most
True.
states don't allow that.
Mhm.
If your state allows it and you have free time, or if you didn't get into a program, unfortunately something happened, that would be the best way to improve your application. That would be like a winner. Again, it doesn't guarantee anything, but you will get money, you will work, you will get experience. There's nothing bad about it.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Um, we're at this point of our application process, Casey, where a lot of people are either getting their interview calls or their bench test interviews and all that stuff. So there's another thing going on right now. Oh, which course to do, and should we do Stevenson's, or should we do the Buffalo one, or should we do the Louisiana one? Also, there's a small thing where if you do the school course, the bench test prep, you kind of get to know the faculty and everything. They kind of see that you're interested and probably could get maybe a call for an interview. Is that something you would want to comment?
Yeah, I have a lot of opinions on that.
Yes.
Um, because I know Oklahoma has an interview is a bench test prep course, and well, I'm talking about Oklahoma because I was there, but it's
Sure,
personal.
sure.
But Oklahoma's such a small school. There are like 4 professors there. Well, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. And you have a chance to meet pretty much all of them if you
All
go
of
to
them.
a bench prep test. So if you go to a school that is huge, like any school in California, there are a million professors, and the professor who leads your bench test, there's no guarantee that that's the professor who is going to have any decision-making capabilities. So
Great.
it can kind of be hit and miss, but of course, if it's your first choice school, then and you have an opportunity to go and study for bench test there, why wouldn't you? Of course, you will not. It's not just going to be for you to just get your chances up. It's for you to know the school a little better, to see how they operate, what is their technique, what's their equipment. Because if you're good, you will be accepted to many schools. It's now when people are applying, it doesn't feel that way. When you are applying, you feel like I'm never going to get in. I'm going to die without ever prepping a tooth. But it's not like that. And the chances are you'll get multiple invitations, and going and seeing a school in person is a great idea. But that having said that, not every school, not every bench test course is the same
It's the
or
same.
can be extrapolated onto different schools. For
Right.
example, if you're going to a bench test prep course in Oklahoma, as we're talking about, they require a crown and a class 2 prep. They will teach you a crown and a class 2 prep.
Is that
If
class
you need,
2 amalgam or a composite?
it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. Because the
They're
prep
pretty
is
much the same.
probably the same. Yeah.
Perhaps it's the same. It doesn't matter. But they will teach you that. You pay money, you go there, chances are you don't live in Oklahoma. Not many people do. You travel there, you stay there for a while.
Right.
And you apply to school like USC who needs wax carvings, and you don't have that skill. You're not prepped for that. You still have to practice for yourself. So that could be an issue. So that could be some money wasted if you if you don't even get invited to Oklahoma, because the bench test prep course doesn't guarantee you that you will get invited to an interview. So what if you prepped in that school and you get invited to different schools that require completely different skills?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Exactly.
So there are good things, there are bad things. It's kind of
pros and cons. Yeah. No, of course.
Yeah.
That's what we're discussing. So after this, someone who's maybe, still thinking about it, they might decide if they're going to go for it or not. Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, thank you so much for those the bench test videos that you have posted. I hope we have more coming.
Yeah, I definitely am. I posted one. It wasn't really a bench test video, but it was kind of a practice more for me.
Yeah.
I was practicing for my pedo exam, and I was like, let me film it. Let me see what I can do. And I just try to see how that's going to work, because I'm thinking about making bench test videos. I don't know if I even have equipment for it, because I need the light from handpiece. It's so much technical things that
Right.
I really want to do. I do want to do it, but it's hard. It's just from this back side. I can't just film it with my phone. You need there's a lot of things so you can actually see the prep.
Right.
So it didn't turn out very good. You can't really see much, but I'm gonna work on that, and it's gonna be coming probably not this month, but in July. I hope I can get it up if I manage to film it. But I also was planning to film it a while ago. I would love to film some bench test videos for free because there are plenty of courses online that are so expensive. Like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. It doesn't worth it. Like 4 iPhones, a lot. And they don't usually worth it because it's just a video. You can Google how to prep class 2 on YouTube and get a pretty good response. Why do you pay $3,000? I paid $3,000 or whatever, however much I paid. I don't even remember anymore for a bench test prep course. And I could have Googled it. I ended up Googling it eventually because like I couldn't really see the videos of videos, it's easier to just Google a picture. But anyway, what was I saying? I've completely forgotten. Oh yeah.
That's totally fine.
That's me. That's how I am. I know. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
hey, we're just chit chatting. That's the whole point of this, right? I try to keep it as relaxed and not tense. So we can just chit chat and talk. By the way, I have a lot of questions. I think 7 people just asked me yesterday if Dr. McDoom, you know someone who provide any kind of services to correct your SOP or look at their CV and all that. And I told everybody, hold on, I have someone very special coming in tomorrow, and I'll bring her in, and then I'm gonna announce. So all of you guys who are watching and will watch later, Casey is the best. She personally helped me, and I personally think after getting her help, my SOP went from, it was like a day and night difference. So I would definitely suggest, I'll let her speak a little bit more about it. Always write your own SOP. It's never a good idea to tell someone, oh, can you please write my SOP and give them a blank space, because that's not how it's supposed to be. But once you write your own points, always get them proofread, because we're all dentists, but we're not like writers. I accept it. You should accept it too, right? So it's always good, if somebody has like a talent and they can help you with that, go for it. We're bleeding money in a couple of $1,000s in this whole process, right? So might as well just go a little, take another leap forward, get someone who can proofread your, SOP, because like she said, it's your life's experience in a nutshell in one page that someone's going to decide if they want to actually see you in person in an interview or not. So it makes and breaks the whole profile. So Casey, just like a little bit, tell us, what, they, all the candidates who are making a little mistakes, and how can they, get your help with it?
Sure.
Please.
Well, first, the free help is go to my YouTube channel and watch my videos. Majority of what you need is in there. This is how I wrote my personal statement. And when I was writing it, I didn't have anybody to proofread it. And I didn't even know there were people who did it. I didn't know it was a thing. I thought you write it, and that's kind of it. Right. And that's what I did. And I wrote it. Well, no, actually, back that up. I'm wrong. For how I learned everything I know is by listening to medical school podcasts, and you would know that if you watch my videos. So go to my channel, watch my videos about SOP if that's what you're interested in. And that's how I learned about writing personal statements in general, not about dental schools, just in general, because that was really helpful. But not many people now who are applying to dental schools have time to listen to applying to medical schools and all that extra stuff. But I did. So that's why I decided to share what I heard. None of that is mine. It's not something that I came up with. It's something that admissions committees of medical schools want to see in their applicants. So I decided, why not extrapolate it onto admissions of dental schools? And it seemed to work pretty well because I got in. So I just wrote it following the directions of the people who I heard on the podcast that I used to listen to. And I read it and it's like, sounds pretty good. It doesn't feel like it's me. I was like, oh my God, this girl, she's good. I would take her to my application program. But I decided to make videos about it because that was a problem for me. It was difficult. It was something that required additional research. And the best resource for people who are starting writing their personal statements right now, and you're staring at a blank page in your Word document and you're like, I have no idea what to say, go watch my videos. And I think that is all the information that I have in my brain is there. I put it out on the internet. So go watch that. If you still are stuck and you still don't know what to do with that, or even if you're not stuck, if you wrote it and you think this is perfect, it's always a good idea to find somebody who will not think it's perfect. You always want to find your mistakes because I guarantee you have them. I used to check personal statements for fun because it's fun for me, I guess. It was a way for me to connect with my viewers. Again, I thought it was a number before. And when somebody just texted me and said, can you please read my personal statement? And I read their whole life story there. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm reading this person's story because just a side story too. I'm blabbering now, but I just need to say this because the first personal statement who I've ever read was from somebody extremely amazing, from like a person in their 40s who've gone through so much, and he's writing about it. And I'm sitting there reading it, and I was like 23 at the time. And I was like, I can't believe I'm giving advice to this person. And we worked together and we improved the personal statement. And he was very thankful. And I thought it was actually much better. And that was fun for me. It's fun for me. I love it. But there was so much. It started growing so much and so fast, which I'm very thankful for, that I just didn't have time anymore. And I had to just kind of weed out people who really want it. So I started charging a little bit of money for that. It's nothing near. It's like basically you buy me dinner and you give me money so I could buy myself dinner and I read a personal statement. That's kind of how it is. And I have a website that is linked, I think, everywhere where I could possibly link
definitely
it.
add them again. We have a question. I think Eamon Talk here. She's asking, could you please also tell us a little bit about your Boston interview? How's that?
Oh, so bad. Oh my God. It was the worst thing ever. I was like, this is never going to work out. This is just not going to happen because, well, my interview was on Zoom and it was in May, I think, late April, early May, 2020. So our favorite time.
Epic pandemic.
Epic. Right. Yeah. So like when we're all in the middle of all of this.
Yeah, when the toilet paper was gone from every grocery store.
None. Zero. No toilet paper at all. So that time. And I just received I was studying for my endodontics final in the University of Oklahoma, just minding my own little business, just sitting there studying root canals. And I received this email on my phone and I'm like, Boston University? What do they want from me? And funny thing about Boston University, when you apply there, for years, you will not receive any reply. Like if you didn't get an interview invitation, forget about it. They will never tell you that you didn't get in. You will not get a rejection. Chances are. And I kind of, it was a year and a little bit since I applied. So I applied in March and it was May. So a long time. And I see this interview invitation. I was like, this is hilarious. I got a little offended. I was like, you think that I'm just sitting here and waiting for you to invite me to your interview? And I texted it to my husband and it's like, look at them. And he was like, wait, what? We could actually go back to Boston, not live in the wasteland of Oklahoma? And I was like, oh, I didn't know you wanted to go to Boston, but all right, let's see where that goes. And I was like all spiffy and I didn't care. I was like, I don't care about your interview. I'm already in the greatest school on earth. I don't even want to go there. So that's a very nice feeling to have when you're heading to your interview. So interview started, you prepare yourself, you're on Zoom, so you have no idea, like all the rule books that I prepared for myself when I was applying to regular human interviews are gone because it's
right, totally different ballgame.
I know the dynamic is completely different. So I was like, okay, something. I need to say something. And the interviewer I know the interviewer now, so we're friends, we're good. But it was kind of Bostonian. If you have ever been to the north of the United States, you can imagine that people here, and I'm used to Oklahoma, like, hello there, come on in,
So
you know,
nice,
the stuff.
down to earth, yes.
Yeah, and Boston University, the lady was in front of like Rembrandt's painting, where like sitting like this, and I was and me like in my tiny little apartment in Oklahoma, and it was intimidating. It was really, really scary, and I didn't think I didn't know what to say, because the first thing she told me was, "Oh, we don't accept people from other programs," because I told her I'm in
That
Oklahoma,
was a,
and
oh my God.
the first thing she told me, there's no, oh, it's okay, we don't accept people from like you, basically. And I was like, oh, well, that's gonna
Well,
be interesting. So the first sentence of that interview, I was like, well, this is not gonna happen. So we just kind of so I decided I was just gonna let it go, and we just
right.
chatted about stuff. Like, she didn't ask me pretty much any questions, because, well, we already decided they don't accept people from other programs. We already established that. So we were just like, oh, how's life in Oklahoma? How is the weather there? You know, stuff.
Really? Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and for some absolutely unknown reason, I got in. And I was like, after that interview was done, I quote said to my husband, well, she was an old, mean old little pickle. That was my accurate description of the lady who interviewed me. And yeah, we're like, okay, moving on with my life. The endo, okay, let's keep reading that. And in 4 days or something, very soon, like super soon, I received my acceptance letter. I was shocked.
Wow, just like
I
that.
was shocked.
What
Yeah.
was your husband's reaction to that?
All hell broke loose. Everything turned upside down, because what you have a week to respond if you're going or not. So
Right.
in that week, we had to change our lives from settled down in a 3-bedroom house. I know I just said we had a tiny apartment. It was not a tiny apartment. It was a 3-bedroom house, because that's the Oklahoma standard, because it costs like $400 and you can live in a mansion. Anyway.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that three-bedroom house in Oklahoma was still cheaper than your, studio.
Much cheaper, much cheaper, so much cheaper.
Yeah, because I moved from Chicago to Kentucky, where I'm doing my preceptorship now, and yeah, day and night difference. I was like, oh my God.
And we just had to just drop everything. We rented that house for 3 years. We had a lease for 3 years, because that's how long we were going to stay there.
Right.
And we just had to start over. It was really stressful.
So how do you approach to a school like this? Let's say Oklahoma. What did you do? The next day you just went in. Oh, this is my endodontic final, by the way. Oh, I'm leaving.
No, you lie. You lie your face off. You never tell the truth. No. I don't think I told Oklahoma that I'm leaving because I got into another program. I don't want that. I don't know where else I'm going to meet them again. So I'm like, yeah, COVID. Oh, because it was COVID. You can get away with murder if you say COVID is somehow involved. So I said, it's COVID, so we have to go home. It's a family thing. Yeah. It wasn't completely incorrect. It wasn't a lie, but
technically, yeah. Oh, okay. Can I ask you, if it's a personal question, please turn me down. How much money for one semester did you already kind of lose on Oklahoma?
I actually was pretty lucky, and I didn't lose anything, because Oklahoma it's a little weird. It starts in January, and BU starts in summer. So the first half a year is kind of like, it's priced separately. So you pay for just, the preparatory course. It prepares you, and it's considered to be a part of admission. I think them and Louisiana has that.
Oh, so interesting.
Yeah, if you don't pass that prep course, so you have your exams, there's no difference basically, aside of the fact that you don't go into clinics, and you're considered volunteer, that you pay a lot of money for, but that's a different question. And basically you have to complete this program successfully to actually be admitted completely. And you technically get admitted in summer, but you start in January. Nobody ever fails. It's not something you can fail. They will teach you how to not pass. I mean, how to not fail.
Yeah, how to pass.
How to pass, yes. Yeah. That's what they're for, to teach you. But it's considered to be a part of still application. So I didn't pay anything for the semester. And that was another stressful thing when I got into BU, because my deadline to pay for the summer semester was coming so close. It was like a week away. So I was like,
Oh
I
my
either pay a lot of money for Oklahoma or I go to BU and leave Oklahoma. So
God.
yeah, it all
Man,
turned out fine.
I'm so happy. Like exactly, I'm happy it turned out great for you, and now you're in BU. You're already in your D4 or second year. I am always confused. Do we call ourselves second year or fourth year?
It depends on the school. In
Okay.
Oklahoma, and I know my classmates, when I say Oklahoma, they're like, "Oh, shut up! You talk about Oklahoma again," because I talk about them all the time. But that's what I have to compare, you know. Anyway, in Oklahoma, you join the class. So when you come in, you're D2 because you
Okay.
join the second class, and
Okay.
then you start in summer when D2 turns D3, and you're D3.
Okay.
So in Boston, it's a completely different bag of beans. You are its own class. You
Okay.
start, there are only 2 years. So your first year and your second year, you don't join anybody. And I like that. That's better because kind of in Oklahoma, you were always kind of forgotten because, you know, DS2 lives their lives. They've been there for a year and a half already. They
Mhm.
have their own dynamics. Professors know all of them and they kind of address them first. And it's like, oh, and the advanced standing students too. Don't forget about them. So you're always kind of you're always kind of like in the back of the class because you're this new kid who
Right. You're
joined
like
a very established
yeah,
group.
the third field kind of feeling. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a little annoying. In BU, you're your own thing. You're a
Yeah.
new class. So you all get to know professors and the everything you do at the same time. So I like that better. It's better for me.
Gotcha. We have one more question. Prabha is asking. So, talking about BU, is there like a selective profile that they like after you are now, since you are in BU, you kind of know like, oh, your profile is kind of more attractive to BU, or again, like what we discussed before, it doesn't matter.
I think I have no idea how I'm in BU, honestly.
Okay.
I have zero clue. I look at people around me in my class and they're brilliant. They're amazing. They're older. I'm probably one of the youngest. I think there's one girl who's my age and that's it. I'm the
I
youngest.
think, guys, she's just trying to be modest.
No, but seriously, they all have masters. They're all practiced a million years. We have people in their 50s, like older. I mean, twice my age.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, what, are you sure it's me? Are you sure you really wanted me? And yeah, so I don't really know how I got there. No idea.
Gotcha. I have another question from Barbara. She's just asking, foreign trained dentists would like to get into a GPR. Should I do application through a DA Pass? I think what she's trying to ask is, should I do GPR at the same time CAPID? And would it kind of help her get into the program? Does it help? Do you have any classmates who did GPR first and then did the advanced standing?
Well, it wouldn't really make sense. A lot of GPRs don't accept people without American degrees. It's kind of complicated because
That's true.
GPR is 1 or 2 years. And in many states, you can't get a license with that. So it's kind of,
That's true. Yeah, I think what she is asking, she's kind of mixing up because it is complicated. It is a complex process.
yeah.
ANGD is where a lot of foreign trained dentists do get in as compared to GPR because GPR usually wants a quota accredited 2 year,
Yeah, it's clinical. It's hospital based.
yes. The only difference that I had to do so much research on it, but the only difference that I have found out is GPR is more hospital based and AGD is more like clinical based, right?
Yeah. So GPR is, well, that's you got it. That's correct. They're pretty much the same length, and GPR is just more intense. You deal with more difficult patients.
Right.
So you deal with patients who are unable to go to a regular office because of clinical conditions that can put them in risk. And that's why the admissions criteria for that program are more intense because they don't want people who they can't verify their education level to be entering and working with patients who they have no idea how they're going to react to a treatment. They can die.
Right.
So
Right.
they choose students from programs that they know the curriculum. They're standardized. They choose Americans. If AHD is more relaxed, AHD is kind of just a general improvement of your skills. It's a place where you can practice your implant one more time, just have this complicated treatment planning case. It's kind of just a fun game for, for dentists
That
who are
kind of
already
stuff.
dentists.
Huh.
Yeah,
Very nice.
it doesn't grant you a license pretty much anywhere. I think Virginia is the only exception. They
Yeah.
can give you a license based on that.
1 year.
Otherwise, it's not very. It could be helpful to apply in the future. Again, it doesn't guarantee anything. It could be a waste of money.
Right. Right. I know you have to go, but one last tip. Let's say for all those who are already have gotten their interview, coming up, just like a few sentences. What should they do? How should they prep for their upcoming interviews?
Two things. First, go to my channel and watch my video about it, because everything I know is there. If you
Yes.
want to know what I know, I have told that. That's what.
Yeah.
And it's self-plug. I know, terrible, but I try to help.
Of course.
Second thing, research everything you can about anybody who had ever worked in that school. Be a creepy stalker. Go to their Facebook pages, reverse Google their pictures where they live. Find out. When I was applying to BU, fun fact, I found out where the admissions director lives. I found out what car he drives,
Oh my
what
God.
liquor store he goes to. I know everything. And that's how you should be. Be a creepy stalker, because you never know what subject of conversation you will have on your interview. You have no idea who is going to interview this. So you have to look up the list of every faculty who's there who can possibly have any decision making in admissions committee. And you have to know everything they have ever done professionally, and hopefully any hobby or anything additional that you can connect to them with, because it's everything in life, not just interview, not just dental schools. Everything in life is about how people like you. If people like you, they'll help you. If they don't like you, that's it. So it's about people. It's not about how good you are. It's about how good you can tell people that you are. So connect with the admissions committee as much as you can. And for that, you have to do your research beforehand and be a little creepy.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Casey. Once again, let everybody know who joined a little late. Where can people find you when you're not going to be here?
You can find me at my YouTube channel or at my Instagram at Casey Does Dentistry. I am Casey. I do dentistry. That is how you can find me.
Thank you so much for coming in. We really wish you all the best.
Thank
you. Right.
Thank you so much, guys. Be sure to subscribe her channel. I have all the info here. I hope this video helped some of you. So yeah, this is it. Thank you very much.